it goes without saying that hygiene is critical. And it is also something that is somewhat more challenging when working in an outdoor environment, particularly if you are further away from running water and you have to carry everything with you. So whether you're out on a bushcraft trip or setting up a forest school in the woods or a bushcraft camp, somewhere to teach some skills, here's what I've learned with making my hand washing setup that I now use. It's a result of quite a few bits of trial and error. I've tried various different products. I think I've finally found something that works really well for what we need. So if that's something you're interested in, keep watching. I'll see you in a mo. For me, a good hand washing setup needs to fulfill three criteria. One, it needs to be portable. Two, it needs to be easy to set up. And three, it needs to reduce the amount of water you use for washing. Now, most people will by default go with something like this, a water container that has a tap on the front. Now this is a cheap and effective way of doing it. You're going to be carrying in water anyway, so you may as well have your hand washing station and your water carrier in one. But there are two main disadvantages, and these mostly apply when you're working with children. Number one is that these water carriers usually have two settings. You have either on or open or closed, and you lose quite a large volume of water leaving it on. And you're familiar with children, they do this in the bathrooms anyway, but particularly out in the woods, they'll turn the tap on and then they'll faff around, and before you know, you've lost a litre of water to wash one person's hands. Just no good. The other thing is these taps tend to be harder for people with weaker hands and not as much strength to open and close, so it can be quite a bit of a challenge. I mean, even for me, when I've say made some meatballs or something, and I've got hands full of egg and water, operating the spigot on one of these is challenging. So this was my first go-to, but it just uses too much water for my liking. And for most of the sites, I don't have any water on site. I don't even have a stream or a lake or pond or anything. So I'm carrying in all of this water. And then every litre I waste during the session means I have to bring in another one. So when you're doing a full day of say cooking with several different groups, and they're going to be doing things with flour or clay or whatever, and they've got very messy hands, this will go through a lot of water very quickly. So I started looking around for other options, and I came upon something called a spa tap. Now this was introduced to me by Mel from Wildly Curious. She has a fantastic channel, go check that out, particularly if you're working with children. She's just, I call it the ideas machine. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, so this is something that was introduced. I mean, it's imported from America. There's a few different places that sell it, Muddy Faces being one of them. No affiliate to that organization, but they're an importer for the spa tap. Basic idea is that you put a water bottle in the top, and then you have a squeezable bulb at the bottom. You can see when you squeeze the bulb, a bit of water comes out, and you can cup your hands around the bulb, squeeze it a bit, and you get enough water. So essentially it works on a vacuum. So if you wanted to go straight into shower setting, you can pull the plug out here. And you can see we're going water. Now this does work pretty well. It does limit the amount of water you can get. You can't essentially leave the tap on unless you pull out this little plug. So it doesn't last long, but this volume of water, when you're working with a group, goes pretty quickly. It's very portable, but this goes quickly. I've tried using it with larger bottles, so with the big 1 litre kind of, water bottles, or what's it called? Fizzy drinks bottles. You can tell I don't drink, that sugar stuff. But yeah, so I tried using that, and it would just overcome the vacuum here. There would be too much water pressure, and this thing just would leak pretty much constantly until all the water runs through. And it's a pain to replace water in this. You have to kind of turn it upright again, and you have to pull it out of the top of a water bottle like that. Go over to a tap, fill that up, then bring it back on, clip it back in, and you can hang it back up again. So I used that for a while, had a go with it, and yeah, it worked for a while. It would probably work pretty well if it was just you or one other person and you kept it nice topped up. I'd say it's not a bad system, but we can do better. Which brings me to my current system, which is the Handy Andy tap. I know it's a bit of a mouthful as a name, but this is such a simple little gadget and it works so effectively. So essentially what we have is a tap with a kind of shower head at the bottom there, and you basically just get the tap assembly and then you mount it into either a bucket or into a dry bag. And the idea is that when you push the little rod at the bottom up, water comes out. When you let it go, the water stops. That just so incredibly simple. I wonder why it's not more of a thing. So this is handy because it reduces the amount of flow you get each time. It's easy to operate. You don't need to squeeze anything. It works well with sticky fingers, with greasy fingers, all sorts. Works really well. Like I said, you can mount it in the bottom of a dry bag. So all you do is you'd make a little hole. I recommend either cutting or burning a hole in there, and then you can mount it onto the bottom there. This makes it very portable, as what I used for a while before moving over to a collapsible bucket. The main reason why I moved over to a collapsible bucket is, first of all, the bucket is slightly easier to clean. I was struggling to keep this clean and mold free. So that I would go with a dry bag if I was taking it backpacking, because it packs down to basically the size of the tap and then a dry bag. And you just fill it with water when you get to camp and you've got hand washing set up. Oh, that's going to annoy me. It's on the slope. Okay, so I went with a collapsible bucket. So first of all, it's easier to clean, and secondly, it means I can top it up on the go. So all I do, if I see the water level getting low, if a child's had far too much fun playing with this, because this is fun to play with, I'll tell you now, I've got adults that go, wow. So yeah, really enjoy this. And then you can top it up anytime if you see it's getting low. You can also top it up with warm water. You can have a kettle on the fire, some water in here already, and you can top it up with hot water, and then you have essentially hot running water right in your camp. Now currently, Woodlaw are the Ramirez Bushcraft company is the only stockist I can find in the UK as of this video. So no affiliate to them, but that is the place to go. I'll try and include a link to this in the description. Once you've got your water system set up, so whichever one you choose, up to you. As I said, I do really like this one. It's trial and error. I found this is the best option I've found so far. I mean, there are others like tippy taps that if you've got a static site, or you can set something up a bit more elaborate, but quick and easy, portable, that's the way to go. So the next thing you're going to be looking at is soap. I have tried the soap on a rope style things, and had some success. They're difficult to keep clean. So I've ended up using a little bag and a dispenser like this. So a little bag that hangs off the ridge line, and then one of your standard kind of foaming dispensers. That way you can just dispense soap like that. So you just have one hand on the bottom, and then you can hang it nice and close. So I like to have these hanging on trees around my camp. So I'll set up a hand washing tree. You can also run it off the end of top ridge lines like this, top guy lines, and just attach it to the edge of an event shelter or whatever. So you generally want these hanging, so that's what they're designed to do. I found the dispensers are nicer than just using the regular hand wash dispensers. The dispensers the hand wash comes in, because this can be locked off without needing to depress it first. So it just turns sideways and locks in place like that, and you can't press the top. And then to use it again, lock it on. The other way, the other ones you have to press them down before you can turn it and then lock it off. So if you don't want hand wash leaking all over your bag, so on, one of those dispensers is a better way to go. Plus, because foaming dispenser, it uses up less liquid each squirt. So this is how I usually have it set up in camp. I'll have my bucket here with the clean water. Then got our soap dispenser on the side. And then you're looking for something to dry your hands afterwards. Now, when I originally set this up, it was kind of in the aftermath of COVID. And so a lot of people were using paper towels for larger groups. Now this didn't sit right with me, because it is a lot of waste, and in general I try and make these sessions as sustainable as possible, and my lifestyle is sustainable as possible as well. And so what I did instead was I bought packs of these catering towels. You can generally get like packs of 100, and I think I got like 200 odd a set, and that meant that each person could have their own individual towel. And I just had one basket for, just had the clean towels hanging up, and then one basket for the dirty towels, and then those got washed, got laundered on high heat to kill all the bacteria and everything. So that was when we were dealing with a pandemic. If you have larger groups like schools and whatnot, and you want a system that doesn't have waste but also reduces the chance of contamination across, or spread of germs, bacteria, then those are nice way to do it. Personally, I now use these microfiber towels. So I have a couple of them, and I just rotate them through. They just get used. I use 1 or 2 per session, depending on how many people use the hand washing facilities. These do dry pretty quickly if you hang them up underneath the tarp, particularly over a column of heat where there's a fire. Smoke is probably going to do brilliant stuff to remove the bacteria as well. So microfiber towel, really nice, absorbent, good to use. And then we have our hand washing setup. It's probably worth mentioning as well that I do also have a bucket at the bottom to catch the water that's been used here, because if you've got somewhere where you're dumping a lot of water, it will tend to get slushy quite quickly. You might want to filter out the bits to reduce your impact on the site that you're using. And you've got to be really careful. If you set up your hand washing uphill from the rest of your camp, you may get rivers of water, even with this, running through your camp. So just think about it. So I've also color coded them. So I've gone blue is usually used for clean, and grey is used for grey water, which isn't so appetizing, but this can also be used to extinguish a fire at the end of the day, and just handy to capture some of that water. So this is what it looks like, all flat packed. As I said, if you do away with the bottom bucket and run with a dry bag instead, you can basically get something that fits down into a small bag like that. Put a little bit of soap in there and you're good to go. I do also keep these towels in separate dry bags. So I have a clean dry bag and a dirty dry bag, and essentially that means I can keep it dry. And then all of this goes inside my main kit duffel, inside a little sink, folding sink in there, just to keep everything contained. So if the soap leaks or if there's still residual water in the buckets, it'll stay there. But you can figure out a system. It's really not that hard to figure out a way to transport this. It is quite compact. So there you go. I hope this has helped. This is a system that I really enjoy using, and I think a lot more people could benefit from. And I just want to say a big thank you to Wellness Woodlands for making this video possible and allowing me to film on their absolute gem of a site. If you're looking for a woodland campsite over in the Shropshire Kidderminster area, I can highly recommend this. It's a beautiful site. There's always so much to see and do, and every time I turn a corner I find a nice little detail that just shows how much thought has gone into this site. So if you're looking for a campsite with a difference that will also give you easy access to the wire forest and over into the Shropshire Hills, I can thoroughly recommend Wellness Woodlands. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. Thanks for watching, and remember, make the most of every day.